Don't Rage Quit.
Hello and welcome to Around the Bonfire with Don't Rage Quit, my podcast. Yay, we did it. So those of you who know me already, you'll know that I flipping love streaming on Twitch. I do enjoy a good video on demand on YouTube. But the next thing I wanted to try, now that we are full-time content creators, baby, was I've always wanted to try a podcast, long-form audio content to keep you entertained, whether you're out walking the dog, maybe chilling playing some video games. I approve, by the way. Or maybe you're feeling a little lonely and I just want to brighten up your day a little bit. Maybe even make it grossly incandescent. Hey! Yes, we love Dark Souls here, if you hadn't guessed from the name of the title of the podcast. So the aim, like I mentioned, is I just want to give you a little bit of entertainment, see where this goes, because sometimes I want to talk about stuff that isn't necessarily Twitch or YouTube or even video game related, and a podcast seemed like the best place to do that. So prepare for wholesomeness. Wholesomeness is coming up. Today, however, just to cut my teeth, as it were, we are going to be talking about Twitch streaming. We're going to be talking about video games. We're going to be talking a little bit about mental health, because that has been something that has been at the forefront of everything I do lately. Those of you who have been keeping up with my YouTube vlogs maybe know what I'm talking about. But our guest today is going to talk to us a little bit about her journey as a Twitch streamer, and also as someone who has been living with some kind of very difficult things to live with in her head that have impacted her life. And I'm really excited to hear from her about how she sort of deals with that and how she makes it her strength rather than her weakness. So I'm really interested in talking to her. Her name is, of course, Nichi, and we're going to meet her pretty much right now. That's it. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe if you're on YouTube or Spotify or Apple or Android or any of these lovely places that allow you to subscribe around the bonfire, and you too can cozy and get kindled with us. But yeah, without further ado, please enjoy the show. Hello, welcome back Around the Bonfire. Today we have with us, getting cozy and kindled, Nichi. She's over there. Nichi,
hello.
Welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. Well, agreeing, did I force you?
No, you didn't really force me. You asked me if I wanted to do it, so I guess it's not really forcing. But I mean, I wouldn't say no to you. So.
Oh, well, that's, to be fair, you are my wife and I do own you, so that's how it works. No, I've been wanting to do this for a while, as I just mentioned in the intro, and there was like the one person I really hoped would be my first guest was you, so yay! Oh, I love it when things work out.
I am honored.
So basically, I obviously know you know you, but everyone listening and watching, they may not know you, so would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I guess my name is Nichi. Well, it isn't my name, but I mean, that's what I go by anyways. I am a Norwegian full-time streamer from Norway, obviously. That's where Norwegian people come from.
I'm a Norwegian from Sweden.
Yes. I mean, you never know. Maybe I live somewhere else, but I don't, so I guess. I don't. There's not really much to say about me, like, when it comes to anything else, but other than that I stream full-time. But, yeah. Very interesting.
And that is on Twitch, just to be clear.
Twitch. Yeah. On twitch.tv/xnichi.
That's it. We got it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I've prepared a little icebreaker, just because both of us are very nervous. Our icebreaker question, and if you are watching this on YouTube or any other platform that allows comments, I would like you to answer too. The icebreaker today, Nichi, is if you were a Pokemon, which Pokemon would you be and why?
I think we all know this answer, but maybe not. Well, my favorite Pokemon is Pichu, which is, ironic since your favorite Pokemon is Raichu. But but yes, the only sad thing about being a Pichu is that you never evolve, because I don't want to become a Pikachu. But yes.
But then you would be a Raichu eventually.
Yeah, that is true.
You'd be big and
when
strong.
I grow up. No, I guess I've fallen more in love with Raichu lately, so as a Pokemon, after using it in my team. But
that is true,
I really like the evolutions more now.
Enjoying some Pokemon Sword and Shield competitively.
Yeah.
Competitively.
I mean, we had a tournament. It was good.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else says. Fantastic. Right, so you, right, let's dive in. You mentioned you're a Twitch streamer. That is in fact where we met. Was on Twitch, right? All those years ago, however long ago that was. Couple of years?
Two years, yeah,
God's
think
sake.
so.
Actually, I think I had my
Is there more?
24 months sub on your channel
Yeah, it's
recently.
over 2 years now, actually.
Whoa!
Heck.
Heck.
Heck!
Oh, you can swear, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm trying not to.
Heck is fine, butts is fine, butterflies are even better, but yeah. I'll censor you
I'll
later.
use that.
I'll put humorous sound effects over your swears.
I will just try not to.
Oh, mate, I'll put a little Pichu noise.
Oh. Oh, perfect.
So with streaming, how long have you been streaming?
I actually just had my 3-year anniversary of streaming, so I've been streaming for more than 3 years. But I count my like anniversary like as like January 2017 because I streamed. I tried to stream a year before that, but I streamed like once, and then I never did it again until like the summer that year, and then I streamed a couple times, and then I took another 6-month break, and then I came back, and I've never stopped since. So
right.
yeah, I've been streaming consistently, I guess, for 3 years, and it's been great. It's been a journey, that's for sure. I started with very different content than what I do now. That's also very true.
How do you mean? How's your content changed?
So I started streaming mainly just The Sims. So when I first started streaming, I streamed WoW, and then that didn't go so well. And then I started streaming Overwatch, and that didn't go so well. And then I streamed Art, that didn't go so well. So I found my feet streaming The Sims, which I really loved, and that's kind of where I built my community first. But then after streaming Sims for like months on end without really playing much other things, like I was still playing Overwatch and WoW and stuff in the background, but like Sims was like my main thing. But then you get kind of like burnt out and stuff. So I guess like it took me like a while, and then I became like more into the variety scene and just started streaming kind of whatever I wanted, streaming more RPGs and story games and stuff like that. I think the first like story game that I played on stream was I'm trying to like think.
I want to say it was Skyrim, was it not?
No, it wasn't. So I played all the Mass Effect games. I don't know if that was like the first story games that I really played, because I played through the series. Oh no, I didn't play through the series. I played 2 and 3. I don't remember. It's too long ago. It's 3 years ago. Yeah. It's very long ago. But so then I played that, and then I played Dragon Age Inquisition and then is it Breath of the Wild, and then Skyrim, I think, something like that.
Got you. So I think I sort of found you around about Skyrim kind of time. That seems to be around about the kind of time.
2 years ago now.
Amazing. So what sort of thing? I mean, I guess this is a question for me. What sort of thing do you think keeps people sort of coming back to your channel? Like, for example, like I've known you for 2 years, and I've seen you. So the thing with being a variety streamer is you don't so much come back for one certain game. So what is it about you that you think people keep coming back for?
I think that's like so difficult with variety as well, like finding your niche or finding like why should people watch you. And I think that's still something that like your whole journey as a writer streamer is finding that. And I don't know if you ever really truly find the whole like reason, but I think
I'm so glad
definitely
you said that.
Yeah, because that's like I think about it and I'm like, why do people watch me? Like I don't always have the answers, but a lot of the time I guess like community is so much more important when it comes to variety than maybe skill and specific games. Obviously, you as much as me have the very big love for Dark Souls and Souls-like games, which I only really found like 2 years ago, which is basically when we met.
I have no part of this. I swear it wasn't my fault.
I guess like having some games like that people want to come back to does help, but I feel like community is definitely a big thing. For me, also like sharing experiences and making a safe place for where mental health is a very big part of me and my stream. I think that's definitely something that people appreciate as well.
Yeah, so that this is something that sort of interested me from the start with your channel. You sort of wear your past experiences and your current I don't want to say difficulties, because things that you sort of deal with are not things that everyone in the world has to deal with. They are unique sort of parts of you that you have sort of, do you find you have to work with those or work against those when it comes to streaming? Like, does streaming help or does it hinder?
I think that it does both. So I definitely have in my time on Twitch met people and had experiences that have both helped and made it worse, sort of thing. Because obviously the stress and like the the constant like attention and stuff kind of makes you very it makes you have a lot of anxiety, and it makes you like kind of try a little bit harder to be like maybe sometimes things that you're not. I don't know. I
It's
wouldn't say
almost
I'm.
like when you are yourself, like say you're 100 right now. When you're
Yeah.
streaming, you are at least 150.
Yeah.
Like for sure. You're turned on. Wait, no, you're not turned on. Well, when I'm in the chat, maybe you're turned on. I don't know. You're very on. I would call it
Yeah,
you're
for
very
sure.
on. And as someone who has, would you just remind me what it is sort of? I mean, if you're comfortable, sort of
Yeah,
talking about
no.
it, yeah. Would you remind us what sort of things you have to sort of deal with on a
So,
daily basis?
when it comes to like mental health, so I have a I guess diagnosis called borderline personality disorder, which basically just means that my emotions and everything are very heightened. So whenever I'm happy, I'm like here, but whenever I'm sad, I'm like down here, and it's
Right.
very hard to regulate, especially with like the constant like feedback from streaming as well. It's definitely helped me a lot with feeling more confident, but also like it does burn me out extremely quickly. Like I have a very I burn my energy very fast because I'm very on all the time. My emotions are always very on. So like I burn myself out very fast with everything that I do, which is why I guess streaming kind of works for me because I can regulate my own um schedule kind of. But yeah, so I have that, and then obviously like with that comes like depression, anxiety, and those kind of things. So and there's definitely days that are worse than others, and I think that a lot of people can relate to that. No, even if you don't struggle mentally, like definitely it just makes it even more difficult for sure.
No, I can't even begin to understand because when I have a bad day, I'm just like, oh, just snap out of it, Rachel. But of course, that
Yeah,
isn't the same for everyone. Not everyone can just
no,
say, oh, snap out of it or
no,
whatever. I would argue it's really interesting that streaming, which is of course long form content, it's very involved. You have that instant feedback, which is a good thing about streaming. It's very involved, it's very personal. It has
yeah,
something that, for example, that YouTube doesn't have. It has that immediate sort of I guess payback from looking at
yeah.
someone, typing to them, speaking to them, enjoying a game together. That is interesting that you find that easier to deal with than say just normal content creation.
So I guess I've never really been into other content creation as much because I feel like I don't really know what got me into streaming in the first place. It's kind of like a weird thing. I didn't know anyone who streamed or anything like that at the time either. But so I guess with me, it's more like considering I have social anxiety and stuff like that. It just
My tummy's rumbling. Sorry, I hope that didn't come up.
That's okay. I couldn't hear it. So like with that, like obviously the whole me being like the only person talking and me being like the only one, like that really helps me. Like I can see names, I can see like text, but like that's not the same as someone talking to me because that's very, I don't know. It just
It's
helps.
exactly streaming is your space, and you do like what you want
Yeah,
with it. You set the pace. You
exactly.
decide who you're talking to because you don't always have to like answer everyone in chat, which I quite
No,
like. It's up to you. I think
for
this
sure.
is why both of us feel the same way about co-streaming, where you're
Yeah,
letting someone else, no matter how close you are to that person, into your space and you're sharing it with them, and it's nerve-wracking, for sure. So
it
no, that
is.
makes complete sense. Yeah.
It's hard to definitely I've done co-streams many times and stuff like that, but I think that it's something that over the years I've found out that I don't really enjoy as much because I feel like not just because it like annoys me, like I love it and like it's great, but it's hard to regulate the
Mm,
attention
yeah.
that you would want to give like the viewers and then that the other streamer might want to give their viewers or anything like that.
Exactly.
Co-streaming only really works if you can have guests, but like streaming when there's two streams at once is very difficult.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. It's maybe something that helps a lot of streamers who are just starting out, a lot of smaller channels,
Yeah,
because it means you can share the small communities that you do
that
have,
is
and then
true.
it sort of goes from there. But I think
I,
people with your kind of channel size,
well, yeah, it more depends on like the activity of your chat, I think, more than anything. So like when you're starting out, and when I was starting out, I did a lot of more co-streams than I do now because my like obviously my chat was less active, so like it didn't matter as much. I didn't have to constantly like give feedback and give comments to people in chat. So like obviously I think that a lot of people who are smaller and who do play a lot of multiplayer games definitely like having someone to talk to because it gives them kind of it makes it easier to make conversation and then people don't come into the stream and like oh there's no one talking, like, because it's very difficult to start a conversation with yourself constantly.
Oh God, yeah. I guess you get into the swing of it though, right?
You do, yeah, for sure.
You should
Oh yeah,
have seen
I'm a
us at
lot
the
less.
start of this.
Heck yes.
Oh man. So what sort of thing do? So obviously you have all this at the back of your mind all the way through,
Yeah.
and you go into this, I assume, because it happens with me, this sort of trance for a few
Yeah.
hours in an afternoon. You stream. How do you find that impacts you? Do you have a period sort of before and after a stream where you sort of, I don't really know how to describe this. How do you deal with the pre-stream apprehension and the post-stream anxiety?
So yeah, I think that's something that we both struggle with, because I know, like, after with our like our talks and stuff after and before streams from both of us is really similar. But yeah, before a stream, I don't really have a lot of time before a stream because I'm a night owl. I stay up all night. I wake up very late. I'm only awake for like an hour before I start my stream.
What?
So,
How do you wait? What? How do you do that? I take like
I
3
don't
hours
know.
in the morning. My hair is so long and
I just I wash my hair on the days I don't stream.
mind blown.
So I don't have to deal with it. So it takes me like an hour, but I'm always late, so I am always stressed before my stream. So I think I should just wake up earlier and be less stressed. But I know that no matter how early I wake up, I'll always be 20 minutes late.
But then hey, at least you're
It's just how it
consistent.
is. Yeah.
At least
People don't
you're
show up
consistent.
until 20 minutes anyways. But definitely the like post stream is a lot more difficult. Like I feel very, very tired after stream. A stream for usually like 5 hours at a time.
Do you take
So
any
obviously-
breaks during those 5 hours?
Sometimes I forget to take
That's
any
the thing.
breaks.
So that might shock people who are maybe
Yeah.
not used to the world of streaming. That we can easily just sit here for 5 hours and not go to the toilet, not get anything to eat, not even stand up and stretch. Sometimes I
very
forget to
bad.
drink water. Everyone
Yeah.
remember to drink water.
Sippy, sippy.
Pause for a sip. Oh, she's got a straw.
I do.
But yeah, no, the post-stream come down, as I have started calling it, always
Yeah.
fascinates me, because the thing is, right, I think it's rooted in perfectionism. It's rooted in, I guess, self-doubt, self-worth.
Yeah.
Where
Very
no
much
matter how good the stream went, you always find a way of convincing
There's always
yourself.
something. There's always something.
Yes.
Like, if it was like, oh, feeling like people didn't enjoy it, feeling like you didn't enjoy it, feeling like any energy was wrong, like, there's always something. You find
Yeah.
always something to complain about, and you really shouldn't. There's always something good. We should focus on that, but it's so hard when you're so tired
Yeah.
and you're hungry and you're hangry.
And you haven't been to the toilet in 5 hours.
Yeah, so like you end stream and you're just like, heck.
Well done.
Heck, you're just,
It's really interesting because as someone who is self-diagnosed, just
Yeah.
I worry about everything.
I'm aware
I
of
get
it.
that a lot, but I can only imagine what it's like for someone who would literally have those kind of heightened emotions all the time anyway.
Yeah, I definitely am very bad on, like, very hard on myself when it comes to like after stream and even during stream. Sometimes like my mood can swing very easily if stream isn't going like in my head as well as it maybe I wanted to, even though from the outside it looks like fine and everyone's enjoying it. It's like in my head I'm just like, I should just never stream again, you know?
Do you
And then
ever
I
feel-
end stream and I'm like, why am I like this?
Sorry. Do you ever feel like you have to almost put on a sort of act sometimes, or do you
I
just
never-
call it?
So I never feel like I have to act because I'm always myself 100%, and that's something that I've always been. I think that I don't put on an act, but because I struggle so much with social anxiety already, I kind of already overcompensate my emotions whenever I interact with people anyway. So you know this from like we've been like to different events and stuff. Like I seem fine on the outside to most people who don't know me. Like I'm fine. Like Nichi doesn't have any issues with being with people. Like she's fine, but like on the inside I'm just like
People listening might need you to describe the face you've just made there.
yeah, like this is fine. Like everything's on fire, and you're just like hate everything. But because I always overcompensate, I don't want people to kind of judge me for being quiet, or I don't want people to think negatively of me. So instead of like being quiet and being in the back and doing what I maybe should do and taking breaks from people and having some space, I just overcompensate and I'm always there. Like, and that makes me anxious too, because I feel like I'm annoying and I feel like I'm too much. And that's kind of how it goes with streaming too. And I wouldn't say it's an act. It's just who I am, and it's just how I am around people. So it's strange.
That's really interesting what you said, especially with conventions. Did I cut you off there? Sorry.
No, I was just saying in the past, like, people have definitely called me out for being like fake or being like not myself. So I think that's really
hilarious because there's so many character streamers out there, you can tell the difference.
Yeah, I definitely am more myself now than I have ever been. So I don't really know. Like, I guess those people just don't know me very well.
Do you feel like streaming has helped you find yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I had no motivation in life, like, for many years. Like, I didn't really know who I was. I didn't have many people around me who, I guess, shared my interest in things. So I felt very alone and very unsure about who I was. But like, I feel like the last like year or so has been very good for finding myself, for sure. It's definitely, it's been a journey. Streaming has helped me a lot.
Oh no, that's really great, because the internet can be such a horrible, toxic place, but it is so full of people who are just like me and you, who want to just hang out and play games and chat about games. And it's fantastic that Twitch is that place where you can be yourself, in all of its crippling anxiety glory, but still you do get the positives out of it as well, which is amazing. Back to what you mentioned about conventions and networking. That is really interesting, because people might watch your stream, see you with 50, 60 people plus in the chat and think, wow, she looks so chilled out. But then imagine being at a convention surrounded by 60 people, and it's a completely different story. So what have you been in the way of, like, what have you been to in the way of conventions and meetups? Have you gone out of your way to meet people who watch your stream?
Oh yeah, like, so I think last year I was at 3 different conventions, actually, if I count like things in Norway. But like the things I've been to in Norway haven't been like, I don't know, like, I haven't gone to meet anyone that I didn't already know or anything. But yeah, so we went to TwitchCon last year, TwitchCon Europe, the first ever in Berlin. And obviously that was that was when I met you for the first time too. So like,
awesome.
that was very like a lot of like hype and stuff like that. And then there was Twitch London in summer and in winter. So obviously met a lot of new people, and it was very, like, TwitchCon wasn't as bad because I feel like we didn't meet as many people at once, so it was kind of more easing into it. But like, Twitch London was
Is that a bit much?
It was a lot, but I think that it was fine eventually. It was just like, immediately, like, all these people, and I'm like, I don't even know who these people are. Now I know who these people are, but like, at the time it's just like,
you didn't have any...
I was just like, do I let them know who I am? Like, do they know who I am? Like, I don't see myself as like, I know I'm not famous. I'm not, obviously, but like, I don't think about people like, oh, they know that I'm Nichi. Like, that's, no, I don't know that.
If someone comes up to you, chances are they're like, they know who you are, but you sometimes have to go, and there's that awkward moment where you're like, please tell me your name before this like goes on any further.
Yeah, it's just like, who are you? I don't want to ask because I feel like that's rude. But yeah, no. So it's been an experience. I think that is something you do get used to more and more. But I like I said, have to overcompensate a lot for like how I actually feel on the inside versus how I like show people on the outside. So yeah.
So obviously it's a lot. It's mentally draining going on these sort of trips. Not to mention financially draining, of course. But hey, streaming, you get tips, you get subs.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's definitely worth it.
But would you say obviously the benefits far outweigh the costs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that if I hadn't done those things, like, I don't think, I wouldn't have been the same. I'm very glad that I did all the trips that I did. For sure.
I'm glad you did it too.
It's like, what was I gonna say?
cost
out.
versus benefit. Yeah, what do you think the benefits are? What have you gotten out of like sort of these conventions, these networking trips? Because they are very
Networking,
expensive.
it's something that I struggle to do. So obviously, a lot of people like watching, and obviously, might already know, like a really big part of streaming is like networking, getting to know new people, bringing new people to your channel, like stuff like that. Um, but then like I'm really bad at that online, or in general, I'm really bad at like talking to people. I'm very nervous, and I'm very like I don't like I love making new friends, but I don't like being the one to like make that step. So like a lot of the time I'll just step back from it. But so like definitely going to all these places and meeting people like head first, like meeting them head on, like that's been a lot easier for me, even though it also takes me a long time to like approach people. But it's maybe easier for people to approach me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you do it, it does get easier. And then the more friends you make in these places, or the more people you network with, it's easier to network with them back when you're like back on Twitch and Twitter and all those things. And then they might have some people that you know from other places. It just makes your network so much better. And for me, it's definitely something that I needed to do.
There's never quite like meeting someone face to face. Like
Yeah.
because there's always people who I sort of know of them, but then you don't
Yeah.
realize how cool they are until you meet them. And
Right?
they run up and give you a hug tackle, and you're like, oh my God, I
Oh
need
my
to
God.
watch your channel. Like, or you go home with a business card and you think, oh my goodness, I had no idea you streamed on Thursdays. Thursdays are my slow day. Just stuff like that. So yeah, obviously there are a lot of benefits. However, do you think it can also be detrimental? Obviously, money aside, do you think
Yeah.
it can be detrimental taking time off from your channel?
Oh, yeah. That's something I definitely worry about so much. Is just like, oh, what if I take like a week off? Like people will forget that I exist. Like they'll find a new
Which
streamer
is
who streams
bonkers.
on my days, Because I just don't see myself that highly. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I can easily be replaced. I'm replaceable. That's a very common thing I think as a streamer to think. You
Well,
see even like the bigger content creators like worry about this, and they have like thousands of viewers, and even they are like, oh no, I can't take time off. But like, yeah, you actually can.
yeah. I guess success is relative. So as far
Yeah.
as them feeling the exact same way as we do, as well as us feeling the exact same way someone who
Yeah.
is struggling to make affiliate would feel.
Mm.
I think we all convince ourselves, and it is probably rooted in self-doubt again. Seems to be a common theme here, Twitch streaming.
Yes.
We love you, but we hate ourselves.
Yes.
And it is sort of like, if I miss a stream, I am going to lose 5 viewers for my
Yeah.
next stream. And
Yeah.
it's that kind of fear. Like, so that doesn't really go alongside other kinds of employment, because if someone who has just come away from having a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday,
Yeah.
if you needed a day off, like if you're ill, if you literally can't speak, it's fine. You get sick pay and then you go back the next day and everything's fine. But with streaming, oh
You
boy,
don't have that.
you don't
Yeah.
have that. So,
It's hard to take like days off when you need it. It's funny because like today I took a mental day, but
that's why it was on my head, because I missed your
yeah,
stream
so
today,
it's
Nichi. I missed it.
yeah. So it's definitely you need it sometimes. It's needed, and it's important to remember that not everything is about money, and like it's not about that and taking care of yourself. Even though, yeah, maybe it will be like you will eat a little bit less snacks that month. It's fine.
One less coffee from Costa. Do you have
Yeah.
Costa?
No, we don't.
One less
We don't
coffee
have
from
any.
your local coffee place.
I don't drink coffee,
Me
so
neither.
it's fine. Why is this for our
No,
brains?
for sure. No, that question was actually a trap, because
Oh,
I don't think there are any detriments to taking time off. Because
no,
I think the benefit
there
of meeting
isn't.
people face to face at a convention far outweighs the detriment of
Oh
taking
yeah,
the time off. As for being ill, you can't help being ill. It
you really
happens.
can.
Or when
No,
you just need to
it's
sleep.
not your fault.
Exactly. It's not your fault. But I just think
Hmm.
that's really interesting, because no matter how much we say it to ourselves and say it to each other, we still feel bad. We still get
Yeah.
worried.
Oh yeah.
Constant worrying is a theme. I have actually. Oh, I completely skipped over something really interesting I wanted to talk to you about. So back to your content.
All right.
Have you ever done anything in your content that has taken you massively outside of your comfort zone? For
I
example, oh,
think
you first.
yeah. For example,
Go on.
what?
Do you know what I'm going to ask?
No. Maybe it's the same as I'm
What is
thinking.
your brain? What does your brain instantly go to?
So, me doing my first ever charity stream was
Yay!
definitely, yeah, is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, let's talk about charity streaming.
So charity streaming is something that I've been into for like a long time, and I've always wanted to do, but never did until like last year in May when we did St. Jude Play Live. Because when I first started streaming, I didn't really watch streamers, and the only person that I watched who ever did like anything Twitch related was a YouTuber called Trade Chat, and she doesn't do YouTube
I
anymore.
flipping love her. Yeah.
Yeah. So she didn't really stream much back then. But she did charity streams every year for St. Jude. So that's how I knew about St. Jude in the first place.
Oh.
So ever since I started watching her do those, and I think that's ever the first like charity that I ever donated to as well was through her, like to St. Jude. And so ever since I started watching her do that, I've wanted to do it myself. So when I first took the leap last year to do it, I was so nervous, and I was so out of my comfort zone trying to like make incentives and trying to like pressure, not pressure, but like make people want to, you know, help and donate and stuff. But
encourage.
That's see, my vocabulary isn't always there, you know, my Norwegian coming through. But no, I was so nervous that like obviously when you do charity, anything you make or anything that you raise is better than nothing.
Oh.
But I was so scared of like feeling like people were pressured to do anything, or feeling like I didn't give good enough incentives, or that the milestones weren't high enough and stuff like that. Like, but now,
how much money did you raise?
We raised.
It was a lot of money. It was over $3,000.
Yeah, I think it was $3,200.
Holy crap! And that was your first charity. Charity marathon. What would you call it? Campaign.
Because I did the whole month. Yeah. So over a whole month, I think we raised $3,200.
That's awesome.
Which is insane.
So, what kind of incentives did you put up in place to help do that? Like, what was did it go well?
So it did. We reached everything that I ever like was thinking of. I ran out of things to put on milestones eventually, and I was just kind of like, oh, what did we do? I think that I had a lot of incentives or a lot of milestones that I've never been able to complete because since I moved back here in right after the charity was over, I don't really have the chance to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do anymore. Like one of my milestones was Just Dance, and I can't because this room is really tiny and I don't have
dance. Just finger dance.
Just finger dance. And the other one was a 24-hour stream, which also I can't do now that I live with my mother, because I think she would go insane if I was up for 24 hours. So.
Of course, yeah. I mean, but people obviously realize it was charity. You didn't know this at the time.
We did reach a lot of milestones that were like completed and stuff like that too. So it doesn't really matter, but yeah.
So you'd say you'd learned a lot doing that one.
Yeah, I definitely did. So doing my second charity stream now in November was like I learned a lot about like what I can and can't do as milestones, and incentives being very different now than it was back then, because my incentives back for St. Jude were like quite like interesting, I guess. So one of the things we did was the whole like people get to choose what color hair I have. So that was every dollar was a vote for like which hair color that I should dye my hair next. Spoiler alert, I had ginger hair for a few months. Anyways, and then also we had... I know. You did. So we had that, and we had like magnets and pins and stuff, which I have here, and I still yet to send them all out. See, that's why I didn't do that again, because so like I have these things.
I doubt the donors will be knocking.
No, they're they almost forgot about them. I just reminded them yesterday. So now I have envelopes, finally. It only took me a year.
So after obviously doing that in May, learning from that, and then doing another one in November, do you have anything planned for next year?
Yeah, we're definitely doing St. Jude again. Yeah, this year. I'm definitely doing St. Jude again. Still kind of unsure exactly what we're going to do for it this year, but I'm definitely participating again because that was a good experience. And we're going to the Play Live Summit in April, so...
That's the thing. I'm going to bring lots of tissues.
inspiration. Oh yes. Oof, I'm nervous.
Oh man. So yeah, that's the thing. We're going literally to Memphis, Tennessee, to a St. Jude hospital, to do some things there, to be talked at people
Yep.
to be talked at from people who actually run the campaign. So
Yeah, and
that's
we get
gonna
tour
hit
of the
me.
hospital and everything.
I'm kind of nervous about that. I'm a
Yeah.
sensitive petal.
Oh, you'll be fine. I'll hold your hand. It's not fine.
Sounds
I
good.
don't really cry in front of people, so I'll be your shoulder.
That's fine. I'll cry enough for both of us. I'll cry enough for two. So that's interesting. So I feel like with charity streaming and just with streaming in general, with all forms of content creation, would you agree? You almost learn something every day
You do.
that you can take towards the next thing.
I
What would
think
you?
it's very important to go out of your comfort zone with content creation,
Mm-hmm.
but also learn your boundaries. So you might like I learned with a lot of the charity streaming and stuff, that was like out of my comfort zone. And a lot of the things, like obviously, like I said, I have been taking me a long time to complete, or like things that I'm not able to do. Like you learn a lot from like stretching your boundaries, but don't like go too far. Like actually think about what you're doing before you do it. It's very important.
Before you agree to post 200 magnets.
Yeah. Goddamn.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. So if someone was just again like with streaming in general or with
Yeah.
charity streaming in particular, up to you. Is there a piece of advice you would give to someone who is maybe trying the same thing over and over again and maybe needs a bit of encouragement to go out of their comfort zone? Maybe they're stuck
Um,
trying to make affiliate and just nothing seems to be working. They're screaming into the void.
I think that being when it comes to streaming, and then with everything in life, really, if you try the same thing over and over and over, expect different results, it just isn't going to work. So, but at the same time, with streaming and with if you want to make like affiliate or if you want to get anywhere, like grow your community and stuff, it's very important to try different things, but also it's important that you're happy. And I think it's very obvious when people aren't happy when they're streaming, and you can see it in if a lot of people tweet about it, even like if they're not happy with things how are going, you can kind of sense the negative energy, even though you can maybe don't think about it yourself. I think that if you're not happy with your content, then that's the first problem, and that's something that you need to be happy with it before you think about, oh, I want to grow it, you know.
No, yeah, I'd say that's like absolutely nailed it on the head there. I think people who convince themselves that they will only be happy when they reach a certain number. For
Yeah.
example, oh, I need 100 followers to feel validated. I need 5 subs to be a good streamer today or
it's
whatever.
it's important to remember that your values are not numbers, and it's important to remember that there is so much more to it than just if you stream mainly just for growing or stream mainly just for money, as a lot of people, I know a lot of people have started streaming because they want to become like famous. That's stop. Just no.
Wait, you mean I'm in it for the wrong reasons?
I'm not saying that it's not possible, and I'm not saying a lot of people don't do it and find success. I'm just saying it's very difficult, and you need to find other values as to why you stream. If it is to spread awareness on a subject, or if it is to make people happy, if it is to make yourself happy, if it is because you just want to play this game and you don't want to be alone, that's fine. Like, you do it because you want to and not any other reason.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome. I completely agree. 100%.
Yeah.
So it's time to take our own advice, Nichi. What
Oh.
are your goals for 2020? Going from everything you learned in 2019 and before that, what are your goals for 2020?
So in 2020, I think I broke a lot of my trying to grow and trying to. I think that obviously having a set path with your content is important, but I in 2019 definitely tried to do things more because I thought it would help my channel more than it maybe would help me, streaming a lot of games that maybe didn't really make me happy but made me have better viewer numbers. For example, like I exclusively streamed marbles for like a few weeks, and I was just
You didn't like marbles? I thought you were
I
having
do
a
like
great
marbles, but
time.
I love marbles, but only streaming marbles for like 2 weeks is very, I think, not what I really want to do. And keeping things like that, like special, having things that that just make you happy every now and then is good. But focusing on like making yourself happy and making the people in your community happy is so much more important. Which is why now, like, I recently like made a poll of games, a list of games that I want to play, but so I didn't let anyone else choose the games, but I let everyone else vote for which game we should do first. That's very important because I got stuck with so many things that I just felt like was just I loved playing this game, for example, but then I wasn't really enjoying it. So it's kind of like you get bored of it, and then because you're bored of it, people watching get bored of it. Like, that's how you feel.
Yeah, you can't really expect them to be interested if you're not interested.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to guess what game it is. I don't want you to badmouth any games because we love
it's
games.
a good game. It was just I just can't seem to finish Outer Worlds. Like, I just can't. And
See,
it sucks.
I've only played it once. I liked it.
I like it a lot. I don't know, there's too much, I think. And I felt like people were confused with the story, and I was confused with what was happening because I was so like into the chat, like I didn't always remember what was happening in the game. It was a hard balance for me. It's definitely a game I'm just gonna complete off stream, I think. I think trying and failing is fine with streaming. Like, remember that if you start a game, you don't have to finish it.
What?
It's not like anyone. I know, right? It's not like anyone's forcing you.
Yeah, no, that is good advice. I think that is something that comes with practice, is learning when it's okay to give up and do something else. Like based on feedback from yourself and also feedback from the audience, for sure. Because it's like you're doing it for yourself, but you're also doing it for them. So.
Yeah, I find the balance in that is very important. Obviously, you want to keep everyone happy. If you're not happy at the end of the day, then it's no point. But finding the balance where you both sides are happy, that's definitely a thing. So that's definitely what I'm trying to do more in 2020, just focusing on the feeling of the stream and not so much like the numbers, I guess.
That's so good, because I feel like we can get so wrapped up sometimes in, like you said, what was assigning our value to a number.
Yeah.
And that is not what we're all about. We're all about enhancing people's lives.
For sure.
Oh man, that's fantastic. That actually covers about everything that I had prepared. Was there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to spotlight today?
I can't really think of anything, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no worries. So where can people go if they would like to hang out with you some more?
I am at Nichi on basically every platform, I think. We have the Twitch, obviously, twitch.tv/xnichi. We have the YouTubes, which is also xnichi, Twitter, Instagram. I think that's it. And then,
Consistent.
Consistent.
Oh, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. I flipping love chatting Twitch. Having a Twitch bitch.
I feel like there's always like I'm probably gonna like come out of this and have so many more things that I wanted to say. That's like that's always how it is, right?
That is always the way.
But
but maybe we can have you on again sometime.
If we ever find any more topics, I'm sure that will be a thing.
We can chat about Memphis.
Oh yes, after Memphis, pre-Memphis podcast, yes.
Before
Charity.
we go walking in Memphis and Amsterdam and all those lovely things. So hey, we hope that your 2020. Who says 2020? We hope that your 2020 is as exciting as ours is shaping up to be. Thank you so much for listening / watching. Once again, I've been joined by she's over there, the beautiful Nichi. Thank you, Nichi.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for doing this podcast. It's been awesome.
Oh, thank you for being here. Go follow her on Twitch and I'll see you there because I live there. Otherwise, take care of yourselves, stay kindled, and we'll see you next month. All right. Bye.
Bye.
We can always help each other. We can lean on one another. Keep trying. You can do it. Don't rage quit.